back on with nShift Coffee Chat. So, Kabar, please, can you introduce
Right.
yourself and a couple of words on Locate, please?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Mark. So I'm Cabba. I'm the partner director here at GBG Locates. I've been here now for 8 years, covering the UK and EMEA integration partners, which includes carrier solutions such as nShift and others. So that's me in a nutshell. And Locate, who are we? We're effectively a global leader in global address verification and location data. We're trusted by thousands of businesses in various sectors. We ensure that data's clean, validated to boost efficiency, engagement, and most importantly, trust. And I'll be talking a lot about that, to be fair. But we're part of GB Group. We are GBG, and GBG are leaders, or they are leaders in fraud prevention, digital identity, which in today's world is kind of ever increasing. So that's us.
Nice. Perfect. Perfect. And you mentioned sort of how it impacts on today's world. So can you just maybe speak a bit more on that and just how that impacts on the markets today and the challenges that we see?
Yeah, so in today's world, in today's digital world, trust is everything. So when we talk about customers and organizations, they're often faceless. So accurate data underpins trust. So whether you're verifying a person's identity or checking their credit, ensuring if goods and services, reach them on time or in an orderly manner, whether you're maintaining sort of profitable or long-standing relationships, sort of trust is the main factor. So you need to be able to trust that data. So specifically for retailers, let's say trusting customer data or trusting their supplier data and trusting data overall is ultimately the key factor in that. So yeah, if we look at businesses or merchants, they obviously can't make good business decisions off the back of poor quality data. So what they then see is cost increasing, especially in a cost of living crisis that we have.
Mhm.
Retailers only really get one chance when it comes to keeping a customer, which again goes back to the word trust, because everybody needs to trust each other. So yeah, so good quality data will effectively mean loyal customers, retained customers, and that's what effectively our tool helps build, really, trust. So in any stage of a transaction.
Yeah. No, sounds good. I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what are the consequences for retailers, brands, shippers if they don't have something like the Locate solution? What
Mhm.
could be the consequences of that inaction?
Yeah, I mean, simplistic terms, yeah, we talk about costs and high costs. They're the sort of simple way of looking at the consequences. But what I like to do is sort of paint a picture of the 1-10-100 rule. So the one being the cost of fixing the problem at the front. So if we take an address, for example, uh, it costs £1 to fix that address at the start of the journey, whereas the 10 is later on in the journey or any part of the journey, which effectively means that it's 10 times more expensive to fix the problem at any part of the journey. And then the 100 then being the cost of doing nothing. So
Mhm.
yeah, that then transpires to it being 100 times more expensive, i.e., missed deliveries, returns, cost of loyalty, and high costs. So yeah, that's how I like to position the consequence of not using a solution like us.
Yeah. And I know it's a bit off piste anyway, but
Mm.
you've mentioned before in conversations that we've had, about that sort of positive friction that you like to get
Yeah.
across when you're talking with retailers and how it's a balancing act between that positive friction that would help prevent fraud, but also not prevent a seamless transaction process. Could you just speak a bit around that and just sort of how your solutions are helping to sit
Mhm.
in there and make that positive friction and what that really means as well?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, that a lot of people think, or a lot of retailers would imagine that by adding a tool at the front end, or by forcing a customer to do something, may add a friction to that journey, i.e., it would impact their conversion rates. But what we see is that that's actually not been the case. So, a good example uh, that I can give you is well, there's lots of examples. So if we work across many sectors and many divisions across the globe. So one of the areas that we're talking about here is retail, really, e-commerce, because that's where the mutual clients are. So I'll give you some sort of let me say use cases, should I say,
Hmm.
from existing customers. But yeah, one of the ones that I like to talk about in more detail is Dr. Martens.
Hmm.
So they had huge issues internationally, or with international deliveries within their middleware. So around peak periods, they would get huge backlogs of orders coming in, and effectively unhappy customers because orders would be delayed or missed due to poor quality data. So that, their journey at the start before using Locate was kind of, you could effectively enter whatever you wanted at that front end at the start of the journey. So yeah, this caused huge problems. So we sat down with them, we worked with them to try and understand their journey and their user experience, etc. And they decided to implement email, phone, address capture and verify at that front end. And what that meant is, and what they did by doing that, is forcing customers to effectively enter these three pieces of information. Um, which is where we get to the positive friction, is which would cause that positive friction, i.e., they would then have to enter those details. But what that meant was that 100% of their orders had valid data, had correct
Mm.
information. But funnily enough, what they then saw was that this had zero impact on their conversion rate. So, that, which was significant, because you would expect some kind of impact on that, but they didn't see any. So this then reduced the likelihood of orders going wrong, and there was no more backlogs. Effectively, nobody having to manually enter details. So saved a lot of money, but more importantly, it gave them brand loyalty and retention of their customers.
Mm.
But
And
others, you can see on our website, we've got lots of case studies. You'll see the likes of Huel, the sports nutrition brand. They saw reductions in failed deliveries by to less than 0.04%. And Bloom and Wild, the online gift store, they saw double-digit percentage increased conversion rate. So they are the kind of impacts numerically. But I thought that the Dr. Martens one was a really good example of using all three of our verification or validation tools to sort of demonstrate how we kind of impacted their business.
obviously, with AI being the buzzword of everything at this moment in time, one of the hidden benefits, I would say, of someone like yourselves is that the large language model, the agentic AIs, all that sort of stuff are only ever as good as the data that it's been used to feed it. So
Mhm.
another one of those hidden benefits of using a solution like yourselves is that you know that the data that is being fed into those um, agentic AI systems will be as correct as it could possibly be, and therefore make it more easy to adapt and adopt those solutions. Again, speaking to a bit of the hidden benefits of a solution like yourself, right?
Yeah, I mean, AI is a huge, huge topic, and we as a business, we have adopted AI,
Mm.
but that's on the business side. Every business now has adopted AI, or they have to. But from a AI perspective, what we are doing, and this is kind of feeds into retail, feeds into the overall market. As what we do, as I mentioned earlier, we don't just work in the retail space. We work across all sectors and segments of industry, and one being sort of, we feed into that master data management space, i.e., we provide quality cleanse data for industry so that AI can be powered. Because as you just mentioned there, yeah, bad data in, bad data out, or
Exactly.
it's that space. But how does that relate to retailers? And where I see that relating is that agentic AI that you mentioned, where we are going sort of moving forward, will be agentic shoppers will all probably have some form of an agent that does shopping for us, and this is where, you know, the likes of our service comes in like sort of highly useful in that ensuring that data is of highest quality, so that when a shopper or when your agent is purchasing something for you, it's ensuring that the address is correct, or your email address is correct, or your phone number is correct, so that the retailer, the merchant can reach you, the retailer can actually get that parcel to you, etc. So that's where the agentic piece then becomes even more valuable, because we're ensuring that the data is valid.
Yeah. No, perfect. And now that we've sort of ticked off the buzzword bingo card, just bringing it back to what are sort of, the impacts that you mentioned previously, those positive impacts of the solution. How does that ultimately feed through and feed into the nShift solution, and how does that couple with the nShift solution so our mutual customers are provided with and are benefiting from this joint value?
Yeah, great question. So first and foremost, it removes friction, friction to make the journey smoother for the individual, or for the customer. We know that in this industry that 70% of customers blame the retailer when things go sour, if their orders go missing or etc. It's the retailer or the merchant that gets the blame. So yeah, the highest impact is smoother journey, ultimately making customers happier, and and also we remove the pain of nShift having to go back to the merchant to provide them with this news to say, well, actually, if you had fixed your data, or if you had done X, Y, and Z, it's not a great conversation to have in any means. So yeah, that's what I would say the overall impact is on your workflow.
Yeah, exactly. And again, just to pull back to what you said a few minutes ago, very much bad data in, you get bad data out. So if you're able to ensure that the data that nShift is being provided with is as correct as it could possibly be, then the decisions that we are making, be it the carrier that is to be selected for that particular order, is going to be as good and as high quality as it could possibly be. Ultimately ensuring that end consumer is provided with their data, with their delivery at the time that they want it, so that everybody's happy. Well, I think from myself, that's all I wanted to cover. Is there anything final thoughts that you want to get across to this moment in time?
I think no, not really.
No,
it's,
all good.
it's been a good chat, I'd say, yeah.